We've seen some amazing things, but that, my friends, is something we've never seen.
Brandon Cruz wants advice.
Brandon Cruz wants advice.
Brandon wants advice.
Brandon Cruz wants advice. You have locked yourself into the playoffs.
Nice. Got it.
Talk with old Brandon Cruz wants advice.
Completely speechless, to say the least.
Man, I am honestly so baffled by that decision. Brandon Cruz wants advice. It's Brandon wants advice.
Green flag in the air. Brandon Cruz wants advice to the front.
It's the Brandon Cruz Daily Fantasy Podcast, where I go and look at low-owned plays and strategies specifically designed for GPPs. This is a show for people who are already informed in daily fantasy sports and how these contests operate. If you have any questions related to the NFL or NASCAR, or that you're embarrassed to ask to your usual DFS provider, or if you can't find the answer anywhere else, give me a tweet at BrandonCruzDFS.com. Most importantly, take everything you read with a grain of salt, and use your best judgment when making entries. Additionally, if you have a gambling addiction, that's not my fucking problem, ladies and gentlemen. Let's focus on the Xfinity Series at Indianapolis now. Everybody is focusing on Week 1 football. I mean, I am too, not going to lie. Not going to lie. Throwing one lineup at the Xfinity Series, but it's very interesting. If you go to DraftKings right now, I don't think they're going to fill because I don't know if they're... It was interesting watching the overlay last night for the Thursday night football game that a lot of the Thursday night contests did not fill, whether it was like the second half, the quarter, even some of the main stuff there didn't fill. I don't think they're going to fill the Xfinity Series or the Cup Series contest this week. For the Cup Series, they have 10,600 places. For the Xfinity Series tomorrow, they got 3,676 possible entries. But right now, there's only 185, and I don't think a lot of people are going to give a fuck about Xfinity Series this week. And probably at least for the next 3 weeks until football kind of dies off a little bit and all the scrubs stop focusing on that. Maybe either way, I think this is going to be a very light week on Xfinity Series. Not going to be a whole lot of people multi-entering things of that nature. So if you want to multi-enter, you might have an actual edge this week. I'm certainly not going to do that. Let's look at the practice speeds for the Xfinity Series right now. Let's focus on practice number 1 here at Indy now. I'll get this out of the way right fast. Daytona International Speedway, Monaco, Nürburgring, and Indianapolis Motor Speedway. These are probably the most famous speedways in the entire world. NASCAR needs to keep going to Indianapolis based on history. I mean, this is the most famous track in the United States. If it would be a shame if NASCAR did not race here. Yeah, sure, racing is boring, but it asks so much for the drivers. It's just like Pocono. I know Pocono's boring as fuck to watch, but it takes so much skill to be fast here at these types of tracks. That's why I like NASCAR actually going to Indianapolis. Practice 1, looking at just overall speeds right now, not focusing on averages or anything of that nature. Practice 1 was Bell, Jones, Kyle Busch, Annett, Siege, Cindric, Allgaier, Custer, Reddick, and Nemechek. Now, this is a long, flat track. If you guys have never seen this track, I don't know what the fuck you're doing listening to this, but you guys already know the drill. It's a long track, long straightaways. That means aerodynamics, like wind tunnel time. Teams with money are going to be faster. This is not a track for scrubs, not a track for like low, just underfunded teams. I'm not interested in those people at all. I think Joe Gibbs is probably going to be the favorites here, based on just overall speed in practice number 1. Christopher Bell ran a 53.5 second lap. If you go all the way down and look at Joey Gaze, he ran a 55.7, which is basically 2 seconds off the pace of the leader, and that's just for 22nd overall speed. So you gotta be careful with your punts this week. Looking at lap averages from practice number 1, not a whole lot of people ran a lot of averages. Most people use this as a Q trim, just see what their car had, see where the heights were, and everything that was. Sorry, I'm talking really fast. Christopher Bell still the fastest. Ryan Siege second. Allgaier, Annett, Justin Haley, your top 5 in 5-lap averages. Then Cole Custer, Austin Dillon, Chase Briscoe, things of that nature. Not really focusing on practice number 1 at all. I'm mainly focusing on practice 2 because that's when the vast majority of people were out on the track. That's when most people ran, race trim. They weren't really focusing on qualifying trim and things of that nature. Overall speed, practice number 2, Haley, Reddick, Jones, Dillon, Busch, Allgaier, Bell, Custer, Gregson, and Cindric were your top 10 there. And everybody in this practice, other than Greg Alding, Landon Castle, and some underfunded teams, did over 10 laps. Same thing with practice 1. All the big dogs are basically running a lot of laps. Stephen Parsons is a guy I would look at for a punt, but I'll get back into those guys in a second. I'll get back into the punts in a second. Just want to go over the speeds first. You had 3 cars run at least a 15-lap average. That was Cindric, Kyle Busch, and Justin Allgaier. Then we had 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We have 12 guys run a 10-lap average, and then 5-lap averages. 25 guys did 5 laps. So I'm going to use this a lot for race trim and see how it's going to go. Right now, Reddick was fastest 5-lap averages. About 4 thousandths off was Brandon Jones, and then Haley, Allgaier, Bell, Cindric, Kyle Busch, Cole Custer, Michael Annett, Noah Gregson, and Austin Dillon. I'm going to put out there and say that if Kyle Busch does not win the pole, and if he does not start in the top 3, I don't think he's going to win the race. His car is just not showing the speed. He's about half a second off on 10-lap averages compared to his teammate Brandon Jones and Christopher Bell. I like those two a little bit more than Kyle Busch this weekend. Let's see. I think Brandon Jones, Justin Haley, Tyler Reddick, and Christopher Bell are the 4 guys that I would expect to dominate this race. Not a whole lot of laps. I don't exactly know how many it was. I think it's like, 60 or so. I could be wrong. I'll look it up later. But it's a 2-mile track. Not a whole lot of laps. So you just want to focus on guys who's going to finish up front, who's going to pass people, things of that nature. Now let me go and start talking about the punts, because that is what I love to talk about. If you listen to me, you know where I'm at. I always focus on low-owned guys and things of that nature. I'm not interested in MBM Motorsports this weekend. I am more interested in Stephen Parsons in the number 99, who did very well last week when he made his first start. Or not his first start, but I think his 3rd start of the season. Ran 15 laps in practice number 1, was 23rd overall. But they plan on running the whole race with that BJ McLeod Motorsports entry. My absolute favorite play. These last 3 weeks have been killer. Timmy Hill at Bristol. Hell, I forgot who else I've recommended in the recent weeks. But this last month, I've been very, very accurate and very good predicting low-owned punts. Austin Hill in the number 61 is by far my favorite play tomorrow. He hasn't officially started any races this year, but he is in his own car, own team. They tried to make here. Let me give you some background. They tried to make Daytona in July, had an electrical issue. They planned on trying to make, I believe, the Talladega race in May, but they had an issue coming to the track and they weren't able to make it. Due to that, they have missed their 2 races that they were looking for to at least try and start gaining points. They plan on running full time next year, and that number 61 for Austin Hill in what is it? It's the same team who runs the 16 and the Truck Series, things of that nature, all sponsored by the same guy, same team, same crew, and all that. They have, like I said, they haven't made their races, and they're trying to get enough points to lock the 61 in to the first couple races next year. Now, they're lowering the Xfinity Series field to 36 next year. That means the top 31 points from this season are guaranteed the first 5 races next year. I believe it's first 5. That's what they're trying to do. So because they missed those races, they made an agreement with MBM Motorsports for Carl Long to have one of his cars run the 61 to get that car some points, get that number some points. Then they're going to take over the number 61, actually have that as their car number. And it's the same thing last year. Like when Chip Ganassi was still in the Xfinity Series, they had the number 42. When they folded MBM Motorsports took over the number 62, so they gained their car points from last year. That's why you kept seeing Chad Fitchum starting like second or third the first couple of weeks this year, because they would be rained out, and based on owner points last year, the number 42 would be up there. That's what they're trying to do with the 61 car. They're trying to get owner points to make him in there. He just hasn't been able to actually qualify. If he can qualify, they're going to have a good car. It's made very well. I love Austin Hill this weekend. Stephen Parsons as well. Those two are probably my favorite right now. Just in general, my two favorite guys. Other people that I would look at would probably be... Let me look here. I really like Michael Annett. People don't seem to like Michael Annett a whole lot in general. I think he has a fast car. Hopefully he'll start around 14th or something. He's pretty much he's the exact version of Ryan Newman for the Xfinity Series. Usually he'll finish higher than where he qualifies. So Michael Annett is where I'm focusing on. Chase Briscoe is not showing speed in practice. I actually really like him if he over-qualifies. If he starts probably about 10th or 11th, I actually really like Chase Briscoe there. Not interested in Brandon Brown. Usually I like Brandon Brown in the situation, but I don't think that they have the motor to really dominate here. It's going, like I said, it's going to be a lot of the actual teams that have money and things of that nature that are going to be doing well. It's going to be run up in the front. But yeah, right now, Hill, Austin Hill, Stephen Parsons, my two punts right now. I'm going to make the rest of the lineup wherever other people qualify. I'm entering one lineup tomorrow in the Xfinity Series. I'm focusing on the NFL, but I still want to make this because I'm interested. And I think this will be a good week for you to get an advantage. I know, like I said, I don't think this contest is going to fill at all. And we have an opportunity to make a lot of money. Guys, thank you for listening. Try to get this out as fast as possible. I have NFL Week 1 video already up. That still counts. I'm still making lineups currently. Looking forward towards Wednesday. Got a shitload of money involved here. I'm going to be going live Saturday, which is tomorrow. I'll probably go live for about an hour. If you guys want to talk to me or whatnot, see what my train of thought is. I mean, I am going full on contrarian for the NFL. Follow me on Twitter, and I'll post Cup Series video tomorrow. This is going to be interesting for the Cup Series tomorrow because they qualify and race on Sunday about 3 hours apart. I'm going to be at Buffalo Wild Wings watching the NFL games, so I don't know what I'm going to do for NASCAR there. Probably just one lineup, but we'll see how that goes. I'll tackle that later. They practice and everything tomorrow. Yeah, so thank you guys for listening very much. If you guys have any questions, let me know. And don't get married to your money. Enjoy NFL Week 1. Enjoy NASCAR, whatever you're going to do. I just want to put this out there. Thank you very much. Thank you for listening.